Hello, everyone. My name is Stevie Cade, and welcome to a new podcast dedicated to showcasing the broad culture and many talents that thrive in and around my home city of Columbus, Ohio. Let it be through musicians, local artists, photographers, business owners, pretty much anyone that I believe has made some sort of cultural impact on our city, which honestly could be anybody. Please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell notification next to the subscribe button. The following podcast was recorded on July 5th, 2020 with local photographer, videographer, and owner of ZTPMAGAZINE in Columbus, Ohio. So please sit back and enjoy an interview with Jeremy D. Moore. Jeremy, how are you doing today, buddy?
Great. How you doing, Stevie?
Oh, living life in a fairly air-conditioned house in a hot room on a very hot day.
Yep, such is life.
So I wanted to talk to you about, well, number one, we've known each other for what? Since 2012?
Yeah, quite a while.
We met at Alrosa Villa. Candace, our friend Candace, introduced us because I was looking for somebody to shoot video for the Songwriter Showcase.
Yeah, you're right. For some reason, I was thinking we met at Osheki's, but Alrosa makes more sense.
Well, it was a random meeting. I just happened to be there, and she's like, hey, I have this guy. He might be interested in doing a video for your Songwriter Showcase. Let me go introduce you to him. And I'm like, hey, man, I can't pay you. And you're like, that's fine.
Yeah, it was still early on in my career, and I was just looking for fun things to get into and interesting people to meet, and so yeah, I was totally down.
And for those of you who are listening who aren't from Columbus, Alrosa Villa is where the unfortunate situation happened where Dimebag Darrell got shot. And it was a very tragic situation that happened in our city, and I hate that hangs over our head. But there are positive things that come from that place, and meeting you is one of them because you really helped me out with my Songwriter Showcase. You did all this video for it, and we ended up taking that video and making it into a commercial for the Songwriter Showcase too.
Right.
Which was really cool. And all of this stems from your production company, Zombie Tap Dance at the time.
Right.
And has evolved into ZTP Magazine. It's your baby. What is it all about? What is ZTP Mag?
So when I was first starting out in 2010, 2011, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with that. Actually, it might have been a little bit later. But I had done a video for some friends of mine, and it was just, hey, you have a nice camera that does 1080p video. Would you mind doing a music video for us? And I said, I have no idea what I'm doing. Just because I have a camera that can shoot 1080p does not mean that I have any kind of video skills at all. And so we made this video, and they had the concept down, so I didn't have to go and work on concept. I didn't have to do anything like that. They pretty much had it all envisioned. They had all the extra. I mean, it was shot in somebody's apartment, and the lighting and everything. It was just all very, very cheap, very, very cheap. But it
was this the Beyond Pluto?
Yes,
I've watched it multiple times. It's a very fun video to watch.
Yeah, it's not bad. I'm still proud of it. I mean, it still gives me a laugh. Just how fun and campy it was. Like it's a first video for all of us, but it had just some creative little touches in there that just kind of makes me happy, you know. So after all that happened, I decided that I wanted to get more into that. I also decided that so in between all of this, I'm also a musician. I play guitar, and I like to try and produce music, but I hate being on stage. So I don't like being in front of the camera, which is hilarious because eventually I ended up in front of the camera for myself. But yeah, so I was trying to figure it out, and I decided that I was going to make this company to do music videos and photography, and it was all very, very fresh. And when I say fresh, it's not like the hip fresh. That's just me not knowing what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah, greenhorn. You're being a greenhorn.
And so I just kind of moved from there. But anyway, the name, it's my name's Jeremy Moore. It's boring. I can't use J Moore because there's a comedian that has a lockdown on that. J Moore Photography, J Moore Videography, anything you could think of, J Moore is taken. Jeremy Moore is taken. It's across the board, no matter. J Moore for president, it's probably taken. I don't know. So I was trying to think of something that was not taken, not used, and not overdone. And it was 2011, 2012, so everybody was obsessed with the zombie apocalypse. So I figured I liked zombies, and I'd never seen one tap dance. I looked around, and it was a name that is weird enough that people remember it. I've been turned down for jobs because of the name, but I've also been hired on for jobs simply because of the name. Like, I've been picked off a piece of paper because my name sounded cooler than everybody else. So
evolving into ZTPMAG was probably in that sort of light.
Right. Well, so the magazine portion is, I used to work for Jeremy Gross, and he owned Gross Magazine, and now he owns a hydroponics superstore up in northern Ohio. So that was his baby. That's where he decided to go. So I did video for them. I actually got my interviewing cherry popped when I interviewed Machine Head, Phil Demmel from Machine Head, and that was through Gross Magazine. So I worked with them, and I kind of liked the idea of all of that, and I thought about doing my own thing, but there was already Gross Magazine, who had a good following. They had good models on their covers. They had good photographers doing stuff for all sorts of different things, and it just wasn't the time to do my own thing. And then when Jeremy decided to shut down Gross Magazine because he wanted to start his hydroponic superstore, that pretty much left a void because he didn't have somebody else to take over Gross Magazine. He just closed it down. Yeah. So that was my opportunity to start the magazine, and the magazine was supposed to be, in my head, it was supposed to be something like a Maxim. Everything that I'm interested in, which is similar to that style, cute girls, cars, music, heavy metal, that's what I wanted to include in the magazine, everything that I was interested in, and I thought maybe other people would like to see all of that crap together. And so yeah, I made ZTP Mag just to make everything shorter. Trying to put that on the header of a magazine would have just been annoying.
Well, and it looks cool. I mean, you got a pretty cool logo, I'm not gonna lie. The ZT looks like a stamp, like
right.
You just stamped it on there. I think that's pretty neat.
Do you remember, it would have been on the Beyond Pluto, but when I first started coming up with the logo, I can do logos for other people, but when it comes to myself, I'm terrible. I cannot pick things for myself because I just fight with myself on it. So the original logo was terrible. It had some tap dancing shoes with flames in the background.
I can still hear it in my head, the tap dancing shoes at the either beginning or end of that video. It was like zombie tap dance.
Right. it was freaking painful. It was so terrible. So finally, I hired a friend of mine who was a digital artist who he's like, I could do something for you, and I was, please do something better than what I have. So he asked me what I liked, and he gave me 5 different ideas, and I said, well, I like this part of this part of that part of that, and he took all the things that I liked from all of them and combined them into the one logo. He did a ZTP Mag logo, and he did a zombie tap dance logo. So and then I incorporated that with some more fire because everybody loves fire. That's what I'm at right now.
I know you like to add a lot of different things into your magazine. I know at one point in time you even inquired my interest in doing food truck reviews.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that something that you still go down that rabbit hole in that magazine, or what?
I've done. Okay, see, here's the issue, and completely honest. The magazine is not going as fast as I would like it to because I have all these things that I like and all these ideas, and then I realized pretty quickly that it's not possible to pay your rent, launch a magazine, and do all of these things. You know, food truck reviews, photo shoots. There's so many things. So that's why I was trying to branch out and get other people's content, because I couldn't possibly do everything at the same time. So the food truck thing kind of fell to the wayside. I did a couple of them, and they were fun. But I couldn't get over how silly I felt taking that first bite and going, it's so. I mean, what I had it was Stacy's $5 holler, and it was a Korean barbecue burrito, and it was freaking phenomenal. But you know, trying to convey that over the camera like Guy Fieri or something.
There's definitely a translation that people don't really understand when it comes to shows like that. And even for me doing Film Trigger, you know, I have to constantly redo takes and be like, oh wait, you need to sound like you're excited, you know, instead of just, you know, being monotone.
I stopped messing with that as much. I had a friend that was doing some food photography, but everybody's schedules have, you know, just, it's been hard. But for the most part, the most popular thing that I do is, and that I have other people do, is shooting concerts, going and reviewing the shows. Everybody wants to do that. It's so easy to get people to sign up for that.
Yeah, free show, right?
You want me to go take pictures of Slipknot and possibly like rub elbows with them? No, yeah, that's fine. I could do that. But oh wait, you want this country artist that nobody's heard of? No, I'm sorry. I got ribs on or something. I don't know.
It's no way to talk about Terry Douglas.
Oh!
Zing. Love you, Terry. I'm just being an ass. So, with all this post-apocalyptic world that we're living in now, this COVID-19 bullshit, has that affected your magazine at all?
Yeah. It's been honestly, it's been put on hold for right now.
I think your last concert thing was what, Static X?
Yeah, Static X, when they came back with their mystery singer, and that was even there was a little break before that, but Static X is one of my favorite bands, and I've, you know, from back in the day I was watching them live, and I was really interested to see the new singer and the mystery behind who Zero is. So if you're not up to date with that, the new singer wears a mask but does everything in pretty much the same style as the original singer, but is cloaked so you don't know who he is, because the music is not about him, it's about Wayne Static and the rest of the band. So he is doing a tribute to the original singer by doing the music like him and not taking credit for it. I think we all pretty much know who he is by now, but nobody's said it for sure.
Right, and who do you think that is?
Oh, I think it's Edsel Dope for sure, from the band Dope. They happen to be touring a lot. Their stature is about the same. They're touring together, so and Edsel can do that kind of like vocal range, and he's also a really great guy. Like to just do it for the music instead of taking credit for it and be like, I'm the new guy, love me. He acts like he doesn't exist, but he plays the music so everybody can get out there and enjoy it. A new generation can enjoy that music. So I feel like I'm writing an article right now for them. In fact, when their new album drops, I'm supposed to be doing some work for that. So I've got some industry people that I really made good contacts with that I still like, and if they ask me to do something special, like, hey, somebody's coming through Columbus, you know, I'll do that, because you don't want to ever lose contacts. That's the thing about this business and industry, is the people that you meet and the contacts that you make. Those are things that you can't give somebody else. You can't, you know, you can't drop an email to somebody and they can just hit them up and be like, hey, you blah, blah, blah. No, it doesn't work that way. You got to meet these people and build a rapport. So even if I'm taking a break with the magazine, I don't want to lose those contacts. So if somebody reaches out to me, I'm definitely going to, you know, help them out, because that kind of thing is priceless.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a true testament to a lot of different avenues of business, but pretty much any business owner, you don't want to, I mean, even as a person, honestly, you know, it's amazing the contacts, the people that you meet, just, you don't even know that they're going to mean something to you later in a business standpoint. Treat people good, be good to people, and it eventually comes back around to you in one way or another. And when it works out for you as a friendship and a business, that's a win-win for everybody.
Absolutely. So. I can't tell you the amount of things that have happened in my life that have been dumb luck by just being there. I like putting myself in uncomfortable situations, so some of the things that I've done I had no business doing, like just jumping into music videos and learning on the fly as fast as possible. You know, shooting a calendar with gorgeous models. I had no business doing that. I had no background with working with models and things like that. And I had crap equipment. I was borrowing a better camera than what I normally had. My lights were made with PVC and chicken lights.
That's awesome.
That is what I used to shoot and like, they weren't strobes, they were just on. And I just had to move them around, and there was a couple times I just yanked it out. I made the light stands out of PVC and just made a box basically, and occasionally I would just rip it out of there and hold it up wherever I wanted the light to be, and I would do those pictures. But
see, that's passion. That's passion right there. It's the ingenuity that comes behind passion it's quite amazing. Like just to mirror what you're saying here is. I'm not really using them right now because it's daytime and all that stuff, but my studio lights here are ghetto as shit. They really are. I've got these car lights, the ones that change color, the LEDs and stuff.
Oh, nice.
I've got them plugged in, and then I have a diffuser panel, but like it's from an old TV. You know, the big HD TV had a diffuser on it, so I broke it up into pieces, duct taped these things behind it, and that's what I use for my studio lights. It's ridiculous.
Doing it, you know, there are so many ways to get things accomplished, like, and you've gotten into a little bit of film as well, so like the deeper you go, people will do all sorts of weird things to get the effect that they want. And that's all the magic of the camera, you know. That's the magic of Hollywood, is making something. You know, the Star Wars, some of that stuff was just little pieces made of styrofoam that you just whatever. But after the fact, it looked pretty cool, you know? Right.
It doesn't, as long as you can create what you want, like, or resemble what you want, the rest is how you sell it, you know?
Right, exactly.
You know, another YouTuber that I've talked to before in another podcast, he told me his very first video was heat lamps with shower caps over them. Yeah, I don't know. I know it sounds weird.
That sounds like a recipe for disaster, really.
Right, it does. It sounds like, why aren't they melting on fire?
Right, exactly.
You know? Like, but I think what he means by that is like he took shower caps and like probably placed them in front of them by like half a foot or something. I don't know. And if you watch his first video, he's bright red.
Oh, right. I mean, he might be using the chicken lights like I was talking about, the dish lights, the silver ones that you $3 at Home Depot and you can buy them, and they're supposed to be for like, I don't know, a chicken coop or something like that.
Yeah, that might be it. That might be what he's talking about, and he's just calling them heat lamps because that sounds terrifying.
Heat lamps would probably be a terrible idea, but I'm kind of disappointed that I didn't really think about the shower caps. Shower caps would have been great. I was using white wax paper, just tape it to the front of it, but it was annoying. It made noise, and
well, my setup here is fairly annoying, but I don't know. For me, either these are going to have to stop working, or when I reach 1,000 subs, that's when I've decided that's when I'll invest a little bit more.
I mean, it's when you start taking I don't know, ads or whatever, and you start making like money, if that's the goal, then you can start writing that off.
Right.
The funny thing is, my taxes are kicking my ass worse this year than they did last year, and the reason is because last year I bought a whole bunch of new crap. So a lot of that was a write-off against, because you know, being able to write all that stuff off, if you're not making a huge profit, those write-offs really save your butt.
Right.
Especially if you have two different jobs. So if I was just making, you know, income from my creative work, that'd be one thing. But I also have a full-time gig that I do, so that it's just, yeah, for the taxes, it's nice to have the write-off.
And if you don't mind me asking, what is your full-time gig?
I work at a factory called Parker Hannifin. So I test hydraulic pumps, and so basically there's an assembly line, like part of the factory. I mean, it's front start to finish. They make these huge hydraulic pumps that are used for pumping oil, catching jets on battleships.
Oh wow!
The line that stretches across, that when they land,
yeah,
that hook comes down. Well, that line is run by hydraulic pumps that we make.
That's really intriguing.
It's crazy how we also do, some of our pumps are used for crushing cars or steering cruise boats.
It's amazing all the little things that, you know, normal everyday people don't think about that go into all these different ways of life. You know, here you are working in a company that deals with hydraulic pumps and all the different ways that these are used.
Right.
And I never would have thought in a million years that, you know, that little piece that comes down and grabs that wire that stops the jets. You just don't think about it. You don't think about it.
Yeah, no, it's just zip tied to the side of the building, and you know, they hope it doesn't rip off. No, but I test those, so I set them up for customers if they want, you know, a certain horsepower out of it. I set it for that. I make sure it doesn't leak. I make sure it doesn't blow up, and they do blow up sometimes. I've walked out of there soaking with oil. There's been times we've had to mop the ceiling.
When that happens, is that like a what's the reaction to a blow up? Is it, oh no, holy shit, or is it like laughter, or just a mixed bag of different things?
It depends on which test stand you're on, because there are some of the pumps are smaller, and when they blow, it's like, oh crap, I just got everything wet, now I got to wipe everything down, I got to clean everything. And then there are others where if it blows, it could send you to the hospital, like it could knock you across the room. And then there are others where the oil that they use is caustic when it's vaporized. So like in just a liquid form, you know, it's just like an annoyance on the skin. But once it like blows out of a line or something, and it becomes atomized, and it hits the fans and it starts traveling the air inside, you can't breathe in there because it gets in your lungs and it hurts.
Jesus.
So then we have to like evacuate the building, but it doesn't happen very often as long as we're paying attention, and we make sure that our seals are all good. But I mean, for example, there was this one time I was on my lunch break, and I went to Arby's, and they were having a bad day. It was the day of the NFL draft, so we're all on quarantine for the most part. They do stuff for the military, so we had to be at work, and then fast food is obviously still working, but so their boss only scheduled 3 people, and for the NFL draft, you figure everybody's at home watching TV and they want food, so they go out and get food. Anyway, I spent my entire lunch sitting in line, and I get back and I didn't have any time to eat, so I get my machine running, and I'm just sitting there totally against the rules. I'm just sitting there eating my gigantic whatever sandwich I had. It was the special that they had, and all of a sudden, and I got my headphones on, and I just hear it blow, and I turn around, and it's just starting to gush out, and you can see the top of it going up and hitting the ceiling. And I have this brand new burger that I was waiting all my lunch to eat, and all this oil is about to come down on me. And I hit the emergency stop, and I shove the burger under my shirt, and I go running.
So you saved the burger?
Yes, I saved the burger. Didn't save my drink though.
Well, there's casualties happen, but you saved the burger.
I can't go to the vending machine and get another like triple decker club, whatever they had. It was so good.
That's an amazing story.
But yeah, that was on a smaller one. When the bigger ones blow, it's scary. It's sent people to hospitals. But we've got safety cages around them. So, but when I started, they didn't have that. So there was a couple times it blew, and it would throw you across the room. Oh
yeah, you're OG. You know what they can really do to you.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, when I started there, it was 2011. So I started there right as I was starting to get my my own business off the ground, and I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do, because this job that I have now is so good that it's one of those things where it's good enough that it makes you almost kind of stop and say, well, maybe I don't need to do this thing right now because I'm making good money at this other place. And so I was trying to do both, and I remember like working the off shifts when all the bosses would leave. I'm cutting flyers for shows and stuff on their paper shredders and whatnot. I'm like using company stuff to help my own company, and then I got laid off from there for a little while. So while I was laid off, that's the time that I used to build the company and push it harder. And so I had a couple jobs in between there, and those were smaller jobs, and I didn't have my heart in those. And one day I got shit canned. Sorry, I'm canned for being late, and so boss fires me, and I was like, you know what? I've been wanting to quit forever, but I didn't have the cojones to do it. So I shook his hand and I said, thank you for pulling the plug for me. So that's when I went out and I started my studio, my like brick and mortar studio, where you started all that, and went full-time photographer, videographer, all that. And but I didn't have the jewels to just quit and give the finger to the man. I had to be kicked out, and kind of like a bird being kicked out of the nest.
Yeah. You're either gonna fly or fall. And I get that. I get that. I mean, essentially that's kind of what happened in my situation as well. With music. I was in a situation where I didn't have a job anymore, and I'm like, well, I can either try music full time or go and try to hit my nose against the grindstone to find another job. I decided to do music, and it worked out. It worked out for 3 years, and then COVID-19 came along and swiped that from under my feet. And so now I'm having to I found a new job, starting a new career in something I've never done before. But now I'm having to relearn a balance of how to handle my life. And it's a very interesting thing, because now I'm working 8 till 4 Monday through Friday, and I'm working labor job, like I'm working physical work all day, and I get home and if I have a show, I'm like, oh
yeah,
maybe I need to slow down on my gigs, like maybe take the gigs back a little bit,
right.
And it's interesting balance, because it's like, well, I get paid more at the gigs doing that thing, but now I'm starting to value my time more. Did you experience something like that when you started getting back into the work field and trying to balance the two out?
See, my issue is a lot of the reason I do the things that I do, like You know, moving from the videos to the photos and doing interviews with bands and stuff like that. It's because I want to be able to say that I did it, you know?
Yeah.
So once I get to a certain point and I've done something, I don't have to keep doing it just because. Like, I just want to, I have like this invisible bucket list that I haven't even made on purpose. It's just things that I know that I want to accomplish. And that was interviewing some bands that I admire and love. I wanted to be able to get myself into that position to do that, where it wasn't crap.
That makes perfect sense. I totally get that.
So I've done a lot of things. Like, I've worked with models, and I spent so much time actually working on that, as you know, just when I didn't have any other work, like professional work. I was just doing my own business stuff, and I worked on it like I don't know, 20 hours a day, and not sleeping. So I got burned out.
Yeah.
When I started working back at this other job, because I'm back at Parker, that's the place that I originally got laid off from. So it was kind of interesting coming back to that place. You know, all the old timers remembered me, and they were like, "Hey, you're still doing photography?" I'm like, "Yeah, I kind of made a business out of it." But I kind of needed a break when I came back, so I was happy to, you know, have something serious that was worth my time. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, "You work for yourself, you have a studio, and you're surviving. Why in the hell would you go back to work for the man?" It's like, well, the man pays an awful lot.
Right.
And I like the job. I like turning wrenches all day, because that's all I'm doing. I'm covered in oil all day, and I'm turning wrenches and screwdrivers and messing with horsepower, and it's loud, and it's just you know, it's a very Tim Taylor kind of job.
Right. And the balance of doing these things is what I've found doing my new career is what it's made me really enjoy everything else a lot more.
Exactly.
You know, like you said, getting burned out. You know, last year I did close to 300 shows.
That is a lot of shows. Can you remember them all?
No, I can't remember them all, and that's the thing. Like, and last year I even got to the point to where I was thinking, okay, I need to find something to balance out because I'm getting burnt out. You know, but I love performing, and so now this new job is not only is it something new and I'm learning new things I've never done before, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm crafting with my hands, you know, and that's what I love doing. I love creating things and having problem solving and all this. So now I'm spending a lot of my time doing that, and then I'm balancing between music and then my entertainment with Film Trigger and things like that. It's finding the balance in family, and finding the balance between all these things is what, I don't know, it really makes me value all that time with each one a little bit more.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and for those musicians that go out and do it all the time, and love it, I respect the shit out of them, you know, like, and I loved it too. But when COVID-19 hit and we couldn't go out to work, a part of me was like, oh, thank God. You know, I was a little relieved.
That kind of comes back around to your question, is like, what's changed for me since COVID started. That's the thing. The magazine, after I cut things that I wasn't able to get done out, you know, there's no concerts going on right now. A lot of the local venues around here are either closed or closing. Muddy Creek's going.
Yeah.
El Rosa doesn't do anything anymore, and I think I'm not sure if they're up for sale or not. Who knows with that. It's a high price tag, so I don't think anybody that I know can buy it. But a lot of the smaller spots, you can't really get a big show going, so it's pretty much Promo West. So there's no shows to go see right now. A lot of the artists, and I don't blame them. Like, of all things, of all jobs that anybody could have during this COVID-19 crisis, a concert venue, the staff that works there, the artists that go through there, that is like the most risky thing you could be doing, is going to a concert.
Yeah, absolutely.
You could go to a restaurant and be safer than going to a concert. You know, everybody's screaming and breathing out and you know, sweating. Like, as much as I want to go to concerts, there's just none to be had. You know, national artists aren't going to risk their health to, for the most part, unless you're Dave Grohl. He's probably out there doing shows right now, like, fuck coronavirus, broken leg, you know.
I think didn't he do like something on a truck or something like that? Didn't he? I think I read something. He traveled around on a truck playing a show, driving around.
He might have. I'm not sure. I didn't hear anything about it, but that seems like something he would do. He's a. I'm not a huge fan of the Foo Fighters because they don't hit me, but I love the guys themselves. They're amazing people and artists. So there's no really shows to talk about. There's a lot of bands putting out albums, but that's, you know, that's mostly me just listening to it and saying, it's good, or it's, you know, giving my opinion, but that gets old pretty quick too. Not being able to go out and see shows and just talking about what their management wants me to talk about or is asking me to, you know, be interested in. And as far as models are concerned, I'm sure I can go out and shoot, you know, pictures of a gorgeous woman, and I could be 10, 20 feet away from her with the right lens and, you know, social distance, but it really doesn't look good for my brand either. If you're supposed to be home, you know, doing your part, the last thing I want to do is have everybody see me out doing stuff when I could be, you know, helping the cause.
Right.
So really, yeah, the coronavirus is it's really put a hold on the magazine and the artistic stuff that I was doing. But that has opened up other things that I've been working on.
This is what I was waiting for. I was waiting for the butt of this conversation.
So, like I was saying, I kind of I have that bucket list, that invisible bucket list.
Right.
I've ticked so many things off since 2012. Like it was life really fast, and then so yeah, I've ticked off so many things, and there's something that I've always wanted to do since I was young, and that is race cars.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to build a car. I wanted to race a car. My grandpa used to be a race car driver. My second grandpa, I've had 3 or so. My grandma got married a lot. But he would race Mopar and all sorts of stuff, and I was like 5 when I was around him. But that was enough to like plant the seed of like old muscle cars and whatnot. So I've wanted to give that a shot, and I'm interested in drift racing. So I've bought a car that I've started working on building for drift racing, and working on a Toyota Supra, and that's more like autocross type stuff. And I have no business doing that either, and it's uncomfortable because, you know, just going into a scene like that, everybody knows each other, and you're just like, hey, I'm here and I'm gonna do stuff.
The good thing about all this is, though, like you said, ZTP Mag is you. It's you in that forum, so you can take this, you know, bucket list thing and translate it into that for everybody, and that's the cool thing about what you've adapted here, you know.
Right. Well, and that's the thing is, all of that can follow me. So I didn't make ZTP, just like you said, I didn't make ZTP Mag to be one thing, and then that has to stay that one thing. It can be mobile. It could be
whatever you want it to be.
Well, I mean, hell, models go with cars too.
Right.
And
yes,
everybody loves fast cars and metal and rock and roll, you know. They all go hand in hand.
It's all a big melting pot, man. This isn't. You're
America,
the oil,
baby.
Yeah, you're the oil marrying all these things together. Now, speaking of the models, now you've done a lot of work with Lion's Den.
Yeah.
Explain what you do with them exactly.
I was kind of heading that way on a story I was telling you earlier about just getting into things and being like making yourself be uncomfortable. I didn't have any business doing that calendar that I did. I had done the calendar in 2014, and it sat around. I mean, it sold all right. I lost money on that. It's not something I would do again, thinking that I'm going to make any kind of money. But that sat around for about a year, and one of the girls, the Lions Den was holding a contest on the Blitz. So it was like a partnership with them, and they wanted to start having den dolls, which is like a group of models that would go around like brand ambassadors. So they had a contest to be the very first den dolls, and so girls had to send in their pictures, and I think they all had to be like voted on socially, and whoever got the most votes won. Well, one of the girls that won used one of my pictures from the calendar that she was in, my calendar. So, she had sent me a message and said, "Hey, can I use one of your pictures?" And I said, "Absolutely, because there wasn't a whole lot of money exchanged between me and them, and so if I could do anything to advance their career, I was all for it, So,
Nice.
She became one of the first den dolls, and a few months after that, I just happened to be at a big event called Trauma, as just a photographer, shooting the show for myself, because I have friends that were other photographers and friends that were walking in the fashion shows, and so I was shooting it for fun. And this girl Jordan, she happened to introduce me to the director of marketing for the Lions Den, and we started chatting it up and having a couple drinks, and I'm pretty good at running my mouth, so he said, "Hey, I got this other project I'd like to give you a shot on. I need a photographer for it, so if you don't mind." And I went ahead and did that for him, and it was just it was doing some winter clothes. Like, they actually sell more clothes than you would think. Being an adult store, they were selling hats, scarves, panties, mittens.
Mittens? I can go out and buy Lions Den mittens.
Yes, they said like "fuck you" or "eat me" or something like that. They were branded for sure.
Oh yeah, I'd like to see what they have in the, I say kitchenware. Like can I put some Lions Den swag in my kitchen?
I'm looking at a kitchen apron right now that I have from the Lions Den. It says something about like "enjoy my meat" or something like that.
Of course it would. That's fucking perfect. That's great. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I'm glad that's a thing that exists.
It is a thing. I've got shot glasses from there and tumblers and whatnot.
And this kind of goes back to the whole the connections that we were talking about earlier. Building a connection with people. Trying not to burn those bridges, and just trying to be an all-around good person, and maybe they'll come back to you, in the future times. And that's
exactly. I mean, and that's the thing is I got in with them, and that was really cool, and that was based on something that I thought that I shouldn't have done, and I did it anyway. And if I wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't have gotten like a job with them, and they've been an amazing part of my life. I've made great money with them, but I've made good friends with all the people there. They were there to support me when Deb passed away, which is my wife. They've been a huge part of my professional life. They've also had me do. They've introduced me to some of their other partners that are outside of that kind of world, like corporate America. I've done commercials for, and that was based on hands that I shook while I was with Lions Den. So
yeah,
it's been a huge thing for me, and just to think that there's a chance that it could have never happened if I would have just stayed at home.
Yeah, if you didn't lose money on that calendar.
Exactly. Yeah, don't be afraid to lose your ass on something. The biggest thing I could say is do everything with grace. Like, if you lose your ass, do it with grace. If you win, do it with grace. People respond to that. Like, I'm 100% serious. Ask me another question, Jeeves.
Well, first of all, I want to ask you, how's Orion doing?
Oh, he's great. He's huge.
Yeah, I keep seeing pictures of him. Hell, he's like, what, 7?
6. He just turned 6 okay. In June, so he's just a month into it, basically. Tomorrow will be a month. And He's riding his bike with no training wheels, and he thinks he's the best at that. Like he's starting to get the hang of a lot of things, and he's like, "Oh, I'm the best at this." No, you're not.
What June? What? What's his birthday? June
4th. Oh, so
June
no,
4th.
Yeah, no, he is a month now.
Yeah, my son's birthday. My son's birthday is June 24th.
Okay.
And he turned 16. So.
Oh no, Well, I mean, you know what? He's already well into his teens, so you've had to deal with any kind of teenager angst and.
Well, I'm actually pretty lucky, man. I haven't had to deal with that yet. He's been quite docile as a teenager. You know, he hasn't really given me any trouble with anything. He's getting a little lip now, but nothing major.
Right, you're lucky. You know, and
yeah. Well, I'm lucky, but it also scares me because that's exactly how I was, and then I went crazy in my early 20s.
Yeah, the same thing I did. My mom was like, "Oh, you were a great kid in high school. I never got in trouble. Teachers loved me, and my grades weren't the greatest, but, I was well behaved. And then I got out on my own, and I went, boom.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. So that's what I fear. With that, but I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. Well, that's good, man. I enjoy seeing Orion grow up, you know, and I still wish you would have named him Songwriter Showcase Baby.
Yep. But I met my wife at the what year was it?
That was 2012.
Yeah, was it 2012?
It was February or March.
Yeah, you're right. End of the world.
I can't remember if Deb was at the first show or not, but I know it was your first day of shooting that you came in.
Right.
Because I think you put that camera on your truck.
Mm-hmm. The speed motion of me going to the show.
Right, but and I know Deb was in that one of those clips there. So.
Yeah, that was interesting. Just being there shooting, and some girl comes up to me and says, "Hey, gorgeous." Wait, you're talking to me?
It's a beautiful thing that came out of that.
Oh yeah, no, that was great, and I'm glad it came from an event from a friend. You know, that's like it tied so much together. Like, if I would have just met her at some random bar, it'd have been like, yeah, we met at Joe Schmo's Crab Shack or whatever. I don't know.
Right. You know, but you're there, you're working. And there's a lot of things I've noticed that tie into that showcase, you know.
Yep.
That people still talk about today, and it's weird parallels that I notice, you know. I mean, even that's where Tom Hagley, first introduced
Brittany.
Thank you. Brittany Simpson, yeah. That's where Tom Hagley first introduced her to his family.
Right.
Was at the Songwriter Showcase, you know, and
yeah, that was a power couple if there ever was one.
Right. I mean, those two, like, I remember you did this video or this photo shoot with them.
Yeah.
And I was like, God, they look so freaking good. And then I'm like, well, you know what, Jeremy? I want you to do a photo shoot of me and my girlfriend. And then I looked at him like, man, I shouldn't do these photo shoots anymore. I just do not have a model's wit.
You know, the thing about Brittany and Tom is they were a very, very sexy couple. Like, Tom was well chiseled, and
yeah,
he had a good head for the fedoras that he wore. You know.
Yeah, he did.
And Brittany was gorgeous all the way around, and
yeah, she's still doing a lot of modeling.
Yeah, we did a little bit of stuff last summer, and probably some more stuff this summer. So I am feeling the urge. I'm feeling a little jonesing to get out and do some more modeling stuff, because it's been a while. It was the winter. I closed my studio in July, which thank God I did. Last July, so it's been closed about a year now, and that was just because I didn't have time.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very thankful that I shut that down, because if I didn't, I'd still be paying rent for a place that I couldn't use right now.
Yeah.
And it wasn't cheap. So,
do you think that would ever come back?
It might, but not there. I love the room that I had, but I would have liked to have had some air conditioning and heat, because so it was nice that it was in the basement of this arts building. So it was always cooler, but it was never cool.
Right.
So, you know, shooting bands, you got bands in there and all the dudes are sweating their ass off. And then, you know, if I'm trying to do something in the winter, I've got a little heater, but it was a big place with tall ceilings. So
all the heat's going right to the ceiling. Yeah.
It's going right to the ceiling. So I've got these models walking around that are like, I'm cold, I don't want to do this, you know. You got to keep everybody like comfortable for them to be comfortable. So, but yeah, I want to get out there and do some more, because like I said, it was the winter, and you can't really do anything outdoors in the winter as far as modeling is concerned. You can, but it's limited. So, and then right after it started warming up, coronavirus happened, and boom. Well, shit, even before it started warming up. So, I definitely got the break that I was looking for.
Yeah, that's there's a lot of people that I know actually got lucked out from the COVID-19 thing. So people that I know that were about to make some major purchases with you know, local businesses and whatnot, and they're in the middle of the talks of doing it. Then the world shut down, stopped spinning for a while, and they're like, "Thank God I didn't buy that business." You know, they're just a signature away. You know, and now they're like, "I would have been fucked." You know, from the get-go, I would have been screwed. You know.
Yeah. Well, I've got something I'm working on right now that I can't quite tell you about. I'll tell you off record, but
ooh, I can't wait.
Yeah, there'll be something else to talk about, and we are keeping, and I say we, it's a partnership kind of thing, keeping a close eye on how the state reacts to the second wave, second, third, fourth, whatever wave of coronavirus.
Right.
You know, I'm one of the people that I'll wear a mask. I've been wearing a mask for a while now, and just I'm a nice guy. I like to make people feel comfortable. So if I can wear a mask and walk into a place, I'm not going to be there for that long. If I'm going to work, I'm not wearing a mask at work, but I work mostly by myself. But if I'm going to Kroger, I'll wear a mask and all that stuff. So I'm one of those people that will do all the things that I need to do to make people happy and comfortable and all that stuff. But as far as, you know, local businesses, like if they're going to shut us down every couple of months, I'm not going to, you know, set anything up. But at some point, no matter how much we want to do the right thing, we're going to have to go back to work. We're going to have to continue on with life and you know, live our normal lives. At some point it's going to have to happen. You know, the government can't just keep giving us money to stay home.
Yeah, it can't go on. And honestly, it's almost getting to the point of, you know, questioning, you know, how much power can, you know, one mayor, you know, have, you know, how much power can just one person. I don't feel like that's in somebody's job description, you know, to tell me that I can't work. You know, for the most part, I understand trying to keep people safe and all this. But, you know, that this can go down a rabbit hole, but definitely I'm on board with people that are at risk being the ones who need to be quarantined, and, you know, the ones that we need to take care of as a community, come together. But, you know, you can't keep people at home.
Yeah.
So moving forward, this next adventure, is it going to involve ZTPMAG in some sort of way, or is this an all new entity?
It's a separate entity. But it is something that I will be able to bring that portion of myself into, to better both things.
Well, that's good.
So it's interesting. Using my own hype train to be my own hype train.
That's running a business, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean,
that's self-employed right there.
Right. If I can do that's definitely the definition of self-employed. So that's something that I'm hoping will work out and take off, because that's kind of the next logical step in my progression. Or it's not. I don't think there's anything logical about my life, but it makes sense to me, you know.
It makes sense, yeah. Well, that's good, man. I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy to hear good things for you, and you seem the type of person that knows how to pick themselves up and just move forward, you know, with life, even through the toughest of situations. And I know you've been through some of the toughest.
You know how I get through the really shitty things that have happened in my life. I work. I don't do well sitting at home. I don't do well thinking too hard on things. Like, the thoughts will come when they need to come. Forcing them or going and talking to, I'm not the type to go to talk to a shrink or anything like that. But I'm not, you know, giving shade to anybody that does. But for me, I need to go work. I need to go do something, and I need to go I need to exert my energy somewhere to make me feel better. So, well, everybody's like, "Oh, you're so strong." I'm like, "This is how I'm coping. Like, this is me trying to get over stuff." So I'm like, when I've said I was working, 20 hours a day and not really sleeping, that was me dealing with everything. And it just so happens that I'm lucky enough to be one of those people that me dealing with stuff is, I can make money at that.
And you're not alone. You're not alone with that. That's a lot of creatives use their creativity to get through anything, many different aspects, and that's been a huge, what's put a fire under my ass for a lot of my situations that I've found myself in, and all the different avenues of stuff, whatever new thing I create next week, that I'm on board with, these are things that they come out of the ashes of something else, and I get that, man, and I admire that about you, and that's why I wanted to sit and talk with you. You're all around just a cool person to chat with, and I just wanted to pick your brain for a little bit, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I'm not great at, well, I don't know, maybe I'm all right at talking about myself, but I like telling stories, because a lot of there's so much stuff that I've done that it involves other people doing funny, like me interacting with people and just funny stories, and it's just easier to tell stories than to just be like, well, I do this, and well, I blah blah blah.
Yeah, telling stories, that's definitely a trait of a wise man. And as a matter of fact, you kind of guided my I had a whole sheet of how to guide this conversation. It's supposed to be just an open flow conversation wherever it leads to, and if things kind of dove down a little bit, direct it into another direction. And the way that I had this playing out, you just kind of naturally did it in your own conversation. Like, you were talking about this one thing for a while, then I'm like, okay, well, maybe we need to start bringing it back to your company. And then, like, you just like, and that's how my company, and you brought it back yourself. Like, I was like, you know what? This guy's he's just interviewing himself. That's awesome.
I'll be right back. I'm going to get a drink.
So, yeah, man. Yeah, ZTPMAG. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes next with that, because I know you're gonna. That's your baby right there. You're never gonna let that one go.
Right.
And that's a beautiful thing. It's going to turn into whatever you want it or need it to be. Do you have anything else you want to talk about when it comes to this conversation? Because anything on your mind, my friend, this is open mic.
No, I kind of said it earlier. I mean, if anybody is listening, I don't. This is a new thing for you, right? So,
yeah.
I'm not sure what the goal of your everyday kind of thing is, but if you're trying to look for like inspiration or things like that to talk to your fans about, is be uncomfortable. Like, make yourself uncomfortable. Like, being comfortable isn't going to get you anywhere.
Right.
It's not going to introduce you to that girl that you've always liked. It's not going to pick up a camera or a guitar or a drum set or whatever it is you want to do. If you want to learn how to frame a house, being comfortable is never going to get you there. Like, there are so many things this world has to offer, and as far as we know, there's only one. So when you finally decide to not waste any more of that time, and I wasted plenty of time doing plenty of stupid things, and so I try and remember that before I try and force my advice on any younger person. I remember I was there too, and you don't really do anything until you're ready to do it. But once that thing hits and you're suddenly ready to be all that you want to be and can be, it's like, holy crap, how come I didn't do this sooner? Like, it's like a whole mental thing. It's like changes. It's a shift. And
yeah, you're absolutely correct with that. Like, a lot of my film trigger stuff that I'm doing has been nothing but uncomfortableness for me. You know, a lot like you. I don't like being in front of the camera. I don't like being on, like, for a long time. I didn't like being on stage.
But you're so pretty.
Stop it. But it's now I'm more comfortable on stage, and I'm not so comfortable, you know, off stage talking to the people. You know, it's flipped, and now that I've learned to, you know, how to record myself, and edit myself. I've gotten more confident with that. And now I'm not switching, but adding these podcasts in, which is a less edited, more rogue way of doing things. And that's
right,
exactly what you said. I'm doing this interview with you is not 100% comfortable for me right yet, because I haven't really been doing this, you know? Because,
like I said, I don't like being on stage, and I don't like interviewing people or being interviewed or whatever. None of that stuff. Like, the whole YouTube thing was terrifying to me, and so even still playing on stage, like, you've got me beat on that, because when I go up on stage, my arms go numb, I get tunnel vision.
I remember you telling me about that.
I don't know how the hell I'm supposed to play guitar if I can't feel my arms or my fingers. That is like something I need to try and work on, but I don't want to like break anybody's eardrums while I'm trying to get over my own fears. So I might just go do it in my front lawn for a while. But yeah, the cool thing about doing a podcast or like even a video interview with some crazy, like, awesome band is if you're the one that's doing the video, you put that camera down on a tripod and you start talking to them. If you mess up, you just stop and redo it. Yeah. And you're the one that is in control of that. And that's what got me over my fears. Like, once I realized that I can cut and delete and change whatever however I want, and if it's terrible all around, I don't have to use it.
Yeah.
So when I realized that I was in control of all that, the fear went away. You know?
That makes sense. I think essentially that's what heals people from fears, once they understand that they can control the situation that they're scared of. You know, I think a lot of the fear is just not being able to control it and not knowing where it's going to go or how it's going to lead. You know, and that's a beautiful way to put that, man. That's very, very thought out. You're a wise person.
I just saw it happen. Like, it was one of those things that, you know, you ever had a friend like hit you in the face with a wet towel or something? It was kind of like that.
Well, with that being said, man, we're tapping out a little over an hour here.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say thank you again for joining me on whatever this is going to be. You know, because one thing I've always, you know what I mean, one thing I've always wanted to do is be a part of the local, you know, whatever.
Right. Well, you're a piece of the local community, so you know, when you bring local people into it, that's cool. But you just doing your thing, you are a part of the local community of creators. So you already are a part of that. You've put yourself into so many different pies around the city that there's a little taste of you and everything.
That's not weird. That's not creepy at all. All right, thank you so much for joining me. Everybody, check out ZTP Mag. Now, you still have a YouTube, right?
I do have a YouTube at it's pretty much everything is like that's at Zombie Tap Dance. Instagram is at Zombie Tap Dance. Facebook is ZTP Magazine.
Yeah, so go check his stuff out. Check out his content and make his stuff blow up so he can be inspired to add more to this. I'm excited to see what you got coming with your new adventure. When you announce that, let me know. And so, all right, man, thank you for joining me. Everybody, check out ZTP Mag and have a good day. Peace.
Take it easy, guys.